Okay, it's that time of year, exam season. The pressure is on, the stress is real, and it feels like there's a mountain of information to climb. But what if you could change the game? What if, instead of just studying harder, you could study smarter, using some actual science-backed secrets from neuroscience? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
First, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. You've been cramming for hours. You've read the chapter 3 times, but when you try to actually remember what you just studied, it's just a big blurry fog. Why is it that the more you pour in, the less seems to stick? It's not just you, I promise. There's a real biological reason this happens.
And the culprit has a name: retroactive interference. The best way to think about it is this wet paint analogy. Imagine your brain as a canvas. Every subject, every chapter is a new layer of paint. If you slap on a new color before the first one is dry, what happens? You get a smeared, ugly brown mess. That's exactly what's happening in your brain when you cram without taking the right kinds of breaks. You're just making mud.
So, the big question is, how do we avoid making a mess? Well, it all starts before you even open a single book. We have to prime the canvas. Let's talk about how to get your brain ready for that first, smooth, clean coat of paint.
Before you even begin, do this super simple 2-minute mental cleanup. Seriously, just grab a piece of paper and write down everything that's bouncing around in your head. Worries, things you need to do later, that dumb thing someone said, just dump it all out. Getting it on paper is like taking out the mental trash. It literally frees up your prefrontal cortex, your brain's focus center, to do its actual job.
Up next, a wild little hack from neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman. Get this, your eyes are technically part of your brain that are just sitting outside your skull, so you can use them to control your brain's focus. Before you start reading, just pick a spot on the wall and stare at it for 60 seconds. That's it. You're basically sending a direct signal to your brain that says, hey, pay attention, we're about to lock in.
All right, this one's going to sound completely backward, but trust me. Before you start reading a chapter, find the hardest review question at the end, the one you have absolutely no clue how to answer. Now try to solve it. The goal here isn't to get it right. The goal is to fail. You want to fail, because that failure kicks off a really powerful chemical reaction.
And that reaction is the release of something called acetylcholine. This stuff is amazing. It's basically a highlighter pen for your brain. By failing at that hard problem first, you've squeezed that highlighter, and now your brain is on high alert thinking, whoa, we don't know this. This must be important. So when you actually start reading, your brain is actively scanning for the answer. It's brilliant. Okay, brain is primed, highlighter is out, we are ready to learn. Now that the stage is set, let's get into the tools you need to stay in that deep focus zone during your study session.
First things first, forget the all-nighter. It's a myth. Your brain works in cycles called ultradian rhythms, and the science shows it can really only handle about 90 minutes of intense, high-quality focus before your performance just tanks. Marathon study sessions are just you painting layer after layer of wet paint. The key is to work in short, powerful sprints of 60 to 90 minutes.
Now this might be the biggest game changer of them all. Inside that 90-minute block, you need to take tiny little breaks. I'm talking 10 seconds. That's it. Every 10 or 15 minutes, just look up from your book, stare blankly at the wall, and do absolutely nothing for 10 seconds.
And here's why that 10 seconds is pure magic. In that tiny pause, your brain goes into hyperdrive. It replays what you just learned at 20 times the normal speed. This isn't just resting. This is literally the process of your brain taking information from short-term memory and furiously filing it away into long-term storage. It's an incredible efficiency hack.
Okay, so that brings us to the breaks between those 90-minute sprints. And this is so important. Rest is not wasted time. Rest is when the learning actually gets cemented. It's when the paint finally gets to dry. But you have to do it right.
Let's be crystal clear about this. Scrolling Instagram is not a break. Checking the news is not a break. All you're doing is throwing more wet paint on the canvas. A powerful, effective break is one where you give your brain nothing new to process. Go for a short walk. Do some deep breathing. Just stare out the window. You have to let the information settle.
And if you want the ultimate superpowered break, you need to know about NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. This is a total game changer. It's basically a guided meditation that puts your body into a state of profound relaxation. It actively clears out all the mental gunk, like a chemical called adenosine that makes you feel foggy, and it massively boosts your brain's ability to learn new things.
And it's so easy.
Just lie down somewhere quiet, take what's called a physiological sigh. That's a big inhale through your nose, then a second little inhale to top it off, and then a long, slow exhale through your mouth. That instantly calms your nervous system. Then just close your eyes and mentally scan your body, telling each part to relax. 20 minutes of this can feel like you've had a 4-hour nap, but you wake up sharp and ready to go.
All right, we've primed the brain, we've focused like a laser, and we've rested effectively. Now it's time for the final boss, making absolutely sure that what you learned actually sticks around for the exam.
Now listen closely, because this one idea will change how you study forever. We think learning happens when we're reading, when information is going in, but that's wrong. Real, durable learning only happens when you force your brain to pull information out. The act of retrieval is what builds strong memories. Rereading your notes is almost useless compared to this. So, here are 3 awesome ways to force that retrieval. First, the rapid information dump. After you read a chapter, slam the book shut, and for 10 minutes, just write down everything you can possibly remember. Or try blind mapping. Try to draw a mind map of the entire chapter from memory. The blank spots on your map show you exactly what you don't know. And for a real challenge, try reviewing a topic backwards, from the last sentence to the first. It forces your brain to make new connections.
Okay, time for a really fun one. This is a straight-up biological cheat code. Your sense of smell is the only one of your 5 senses that has a direct, private highway to the memory and emotion centers of your brain. And we can totally exploit that.
Here's how it works. Get a unique scent, an essential oil, a perfume, whatever, that you don't normally use. Then only wear that scent when you're studying one specific tough subject, let's say physics. Then, right before you walk into the physics exam, put that same scent on again. The smell acts like a secret password, a direct retrieval cue that helps your brain unlock that specific file of information. It's weird, I know, but it works.
So when you put all of these pieces together, it really comes down to this one simple idea. Stop fighting against your brain's biology. The goal isn't just about putting in more hours of painful effort. It's about making the hours you do spend way more effective, more efficient, and honestly, a lot less stressful.
So I'll leave you with this question. Don't try to do all of this at once. Just pick one. Which one of these hacks are you going to try out tonight? Which tool will you use to make your very next study session the best one you've ever had? Good luck, you've got this.